Good morning, student. Welcome to the lecture series of Computer Architecture and Organization. In the previous lectures, we have studied about machine instruction sequencing, which includes straight line instruction sequencing and branching and addressing modes. Okay, so now in today's lecture, we will study about basic input-output operations. So as we already know that the data on which these instructions operate are already stored in the memory. But sometimes the data on which instruction operate are not necessarily already stored in memory, because sometimes instruction operate on data which is directly transferred from input unit to output unit with the interference of processor. Okay, so it means that the data need to be transferred between the processor and the outside world, that is the disk, keyboard, etc. Okay, and for that IO operations are essential because the way they are performed can have significant effect on the performance of the computer. So let's consider one example that we want to read a character from keyboard and produce a character on display screen. Okay, we are reading a character from keyboard and we are displaying that character by using display screen or by using your monitor. So to perform this input and output operation, we need the help of program control IO. Okay, in today's lecture, there are two new terms, that is program control IO and memory control IO. Okay, which is also called as program mapped IO and memory mapped IO. Okay, that is IO map IO and memory mapped IO. So we have a separate topic related to memory mapped IO and IO mapped IO. So what is it? We will discuss in detail in later lectures. But right now, just understand that to perform these input output operations, we need the help of program control IO. Okay, so what is our task? That we have to read a character from keyboard and we have to display that character on a display screen. Okay, so the rate of data transfer from the keyboard to a computer is depends on typing speed of the user. Okay, so and which is not more than few characters per second. So the rate of data transfer, it depends on the speed of user. Second one, the rate of output transfer from the computer to the display unit is much higher as compared to input unit. It means that the rate on which data is transferred from input unit to the processor is much higher than the output unit transfers data from computer to the display unit. Okay, now how we determine this rate? This rate is determined by the rate at which characters can be transmitted over the link between computer and the display devices. Okay, so typically it is a several thousands character per second. Okay, so however this is still much slower than the speed of processor that can execute many millions of instruction per second. That means simply playing a music or playing a video contains thousands of instructions. Okay, so your processor is much faster than your input and output devices. Okay, so the working of input and IO transfer is very much slower than your processor because your processor works very fast. Okay, so it requires synchronization between the processor and IO devices. It means that it needs to match the speed or to keep the balance between processor and IO devices, which is called as synchronization. Okay, so the solution to this problem is that on output, processor sends the first character and then wait for a signal from the display that character has been received. It means that you are pressing three keys on your keyboard. Processor receives that keys. Okay, now we have to display that. Let's say three keys means three characters. Okay, like A, B, and C. You pressed A, B, and C on your keyboard. Processor received that A, B, and C. After receiving, processor sends only a character to the display device to the output device and wait for a signal from display that I'm getting that A. Okay, that means your display device will give acknowledgement to the processor. That means it waits for a signal, it waits for an acknowledgement signal from the display device. Okay, that the character has been received. After that, your processor will send second character. Then after getting second acknowledgement, your processor will send third character and so on. Okay, like this your processor will works in between input device and output device. Okay, so your input is sent from the keyboard in a similar way. Then processor waits for a signal indicating that the character key has been stuck and that its code is available in some buffer register associated with the keyboard. So whatever the, as I told you, printer example, whatever you have sent through input devices, processor stores that in buffer register. Okay, processor is no longer holding that characters and stop his other operations. Okay, processor simply store these all data in a buffer register and then processor free to work on other operations. Okay, it means that when you place some characters or keys on your keyboard, processor receives that characters and stores that character in a buffer register, which acts as an intermediary between your processor and your output devices. And then this buffer register sends one by one character to the output devices. But simply we say that your processor sends one by one to output device. Okay, then processor proceeds to read that code. Then keyboard, as we know that your keyboard and display devices are separate devices are shown in this figure. Your keyboard is one single device and your display is another device. Now the action of striking a key on the keyboard does not automatically cause the corresponding character to be displayed on the character to be displayed. It is not done by your keyboard. It is done by your display devices. It is done by your monitor with the help of processor. Okay, so the one block of instruction in the IO program, one block of instruction in the IO transfer the characters into the processor, transfers the characters into the processor. As I told you, processor receives the data from input devices, then store that data in the buffer register, and then buffer register will transfer that data to the output devices. Okay, so the one block of instruction in the IO transfer the characters into the processor, and another associated block of instruction causes the character to be displayed. Now, what is meant by block of instruction? It means that to get data and to display data, there is a one program. Okay, as I told you, imaging app in your mobile phone. The images that are stored in this app is your data, and to display that images, to show that images, you must need a program. Okay, you must need an application. It means that you must need a set of instruction. Okay, so to get the data from input devices and to transfer the data to output devices, there must be a associated block of instruction. There must be a one dedicated program for receiving and sending data. Okay, so we are talking about the problem that is moving a character from keyboard to the processor. Okay, so striking key stores the corresponding character code in an 8-bit buffer register associated with the keyboard. Now your keyboard is again having a buffer register. Okay, very fast you are typing your keys and that all characters are stored in a buffer register one by one. So it says that 8-bit buffer register. Okay, now you know that what is 8-bit character and 8-bit number. So 8-bit buffer register will hold only 8-bit of data. So you can see in this diagram data in and data out. As I told you in the some previous lectures, for IO transfer we use some predefined syntax. In register transfer notation and assembly language notations we have discussed about it. For IO transfer we use two predefined syntax or two predefined names, that is data in and data out. Okay, so this data in tell the processor that valid character is in data in. It means that after pressing on keyboard A, B, and C, okay, your A enters to the data in. Okay, then once your character is entered in data in, it tells the processor that I got one character. It means that whenever data in got a character, your S in, this is a flag register. Okay, whenever data enters in data in register, your S in becomes 1 or your S in is set to 1. And processor reads the contents of data in. That means processor reads character A. After reading out your S in, that means this your flag register will become 0. Okay. Again, after that, B enters into the data in. As soon as your B comes into the data in, your S in becomes 1. And as long as your processor read out that B character, your S in becomes 0. Okay, this is the working of this flag register, that is status in and status out. Okay, so when status in is 1, your processor reads data from this data in. And when the character is transferred to the processor, your S in is automatically set to 0. And if second character is entered, that means B, your S in is again set to 1 and the same process repeats. So similar process takes place when characters are transferred from processor to the display. Okay, now in this step, characters are entered by using keyboard, that means by using your input devices. After that, they are stored in your data in register. We can say that it is a buffer register. Then processor read out data from this buffer register, and now your processor transfer that data to the output devices. Okay, so your buffer registered data out and your your status flag, that is as out, are used for this transfer between from processor to output devices. So when as out is set to 1, when display is ready to receive a character. Whenever this data out buffer register receive character A, your S out will becomes 0. Okay, so the processor monitors S out, and when S out is set to 1, your processor transfers a character. This flag register tells the processor that yes, I am ready to receive a character. So whenever set out is set to 1, your processor will transfer data to output unit. Okay, then the transfer of character to data out clears S out to 0. So as long as data out receives a character, your S out will become 0. Okay, that means the status flag is set to 0. It means that your data out is no longer ready to receive a character. Okay, again when your set out is set to 1, it tells the processor that yes, I am ready to receive another character. Then processor transfer character second, that is B, to your output devices. And whenever this data, this output device receives a data, your S out register is set to 0. Okay, and this process repeats again and again. Okay, so the buffer register data in and data out, and your status flag registers, that is S in and S out, are commonly known as device interface. Okay, and the circuitry for each device is connected to the processor. That means your input device and your output device is connected to a processor via bus. Okay. So your input device and output device both are connected to a processor by using a bus. Okay. Now, in order to perform a data transfer between input device and output device, we need some machine instruction to check the state of your status flag and to transfer data between the processor and IO devices. It means that we need some predefined program to check the status of this flag registers and to transfer data between input unit and output unit. Okay, so these instructions are similar in format to those used for moving data between the processor and the memory. It means that we are using the same instructions that we use to transfer data from processor to memory and memory to processor. Same instructions we are going to use for input and output devices also. For example, the processor can monitor the keyboard status flag as in and transfer a character from data in to register as 0. Let's consider it is general purpose register. Okay, so let's consider inside a processor there is a one general purpose register that is R0. Now, as keyboard has a buffer register, as output device has a buffer register, in the same way processor has some registers to store data temporarily. Okay, so now the another example is that we have to transfer character from this buffer register data in to general purpose register R0. Okay, so inside a processor, we have one general purpose register that is R0 and we have to transfer data from this input device to the processor. Okay, by using some sequence of operations or by using some sequence of instruction. Okay, so these instructions are like this. We are using this machine instruction to check the state of your status flag and to transfer the data from input device to output device. From input device to processor and also from processor to output device. Okay. So the instruction is like that. Read wait branch to read wait if S in is equals to 0. Input from data in to R1. It is R0. Okay, so the branch operation is usually implemented by two machine instructions. The first instruction takes the status flag and the second instruction performs the branch operation. Okay, so in simple word, processor checks S in. If S in is 1, then transfer data and again make S in 0. Okay, and the similar sequence of operation is used for transferring output to the display. So again the branch operation is normally implemented by two machine instructions. The wait loop is executed repeatedly until the status flag S out will become 1, okay, by the display device. And the output operation transfers a character from R0 to data out to be displayed and it sets S out equals to 0. Okay, so initially S in is 0 and S out is 1. This initialization is normally performed by the device control circuit when devices are placed under computer control before your program execution begins. So until now, we have assumed that addresses issued by the processor to access instruction and operands always refer to memory locations. Okay, now we know that the addresses issued by the processor to access instruction, to access programs, and to access operands always refer to memory locations because your data and program both are stored in memory. Okay, but many computers use an arrangement called memory mapped IO, in which some memory addresses value are used to refer to buffer registers of peripheral devices such as data in and data out. So as I told you, we have a separate topic in your syllabus regarding memory mapped IO and IO mapped IO. So we have discussed it in later in this section only. So right now just understood that as long as we have studied about your data and programs, both are stored in memory locations, but in some cases, like in IO transfer, your data is no need to store it in memory. We can directly transfer it from input devices to output devices, like printing a pages. Your data is directly transferred from input device to processor and then processor to output device. No need of memory interference. Okay. And another example is that a scanner you can directly scan your documents and store it in your secondary device like pen drive, floppy disk, CD, and so on. But if you want to store it in your memory location, that it is up to you. And like watching movies online is also another example of IO transfer. So thus no special instructions are needed to access the contents of these registers. Data can be transferred between these registers, that is data in and data out, and the processor using instructions such as move, load, or stores. Okay. So for example, the contents of the keyboard character, that is buffer data in, buffer register data in, can be transferred to register R1. This is, let's say this is a general purpose register. So the contents of keyboard character buffer data in can be transferred to register R1 in the processor by using instruction like move byte data in comma R1. It means that transferring data from data in to general purpose register R1. What is meant by move? Transferring data from data in to general purpose register R1. Similarly, the contents of R1 can be transferred to data out by using the instruction like move byte R1 to data out. Okay, that means transfer data from R1 to data out buffer register. Now, what is meant by byte? Here we are using 8 bit of buffer register. 8 bit means 1 byte. That's why here we are mentioning byte. Okay, so here transferring data from data in to general purpose register R1. Okay, it means that how it goes. First, input device, transferring data from input device to buffer register, to general purpose register R1, and then transferring data from general purpose register to buffer register data out, that means output devices. So input device to processor to output device. Okay, so the status flag S in and S out are automatically cleared when buffer registers data out and data in are referenced respectively. Okay, so whenever the data in becomes one, whenever the data in gets data from input device, your S in becomes one, and whenever your data out is ready to get data from processor, your yes out will become 1. Okay, so the move byte operation code signifies that operand size is a 1 byte. Let's say your operand, your character or your data is a 1 byte data. That means 8 bit of data to distinguish it from the operational codes. So this is all about the basic input and output operations. Okay, so as this is the last topic of your first unit, if you have any doubt in this topic, you can ask me in the discussion session.